Assalamu alaikum. We are back again to discuss some pertinent issues relating to our governance process. Election is just at the corner. Next 4 weeks, we will go back to the poll in order to vote for our favorite presidential candidates. And we know election is never easy, especially in an African continent. Election is never easy because we always deal with incumbents who are very good in tampering with election processes. So I deem it very necessary to come on board and then share my perspective, especially with regards to IEC, and also ways on how to get rid of this economic vampire government. I always try to use the word, I always try to use the adjective vampires, because what we have is not a government. I always emphasize on this, that what we have are criminals. These are criminals, like they don't know what it takes to head a country. What they know is how to steal. Since the inception of this government, the only thing they know is how to steal. Stealing, stealing, stealing. So it is important that as citizens, we have to come together in order to make sure that we join hands together and remove this government. And the responsibility lies upon all of us. Like, as I'm talking to you right now, every day, mange waha humanity, from Combo East, like, I talk to my friends that they should not vote for Adama Barrow. I don't only stop there, I tell them the reason why they should not vote for Adama Barrow. Because having Adama Barrow as our president for the next 5 years will be the worst mistake of our life. Because we have seen recently, if you go to the public sector, especially if you go to the hospitals, like go to the public hospitals, even a simple sick bed, you cannot have it. Like, look at the living standard of the ordinary Gambian people. We cannot cater even basic bread for our people because there is no price control, because there is no government in power. So it is incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we put a stop to this. How can we stop this? We have to go out on the 4th of December and then vote. We have to vote. What we have is a system where we can remove a sitting president. That is why we secured our voters' card. This voters' card will give us the leverage to go and vote, and nobody is going to stop you. As far as you have your voters' card, you are eligible to vote. Go and vote. But remember, when you are voting, you are making a choice. And that choice is to vote for a candidate who is going to serve the needs and aspirations of you and the 1.9 billion people in the Gambia. But I'll be honest with you that government is not President Barrow's government. It is not President Barrow's government, and I will keep repeating this. You don't need to be a scientist to know the treachery of President Barrow's government. If you understand the dynamics of governance, you will understand without no iota of doubt that this government has to go. We don't even need to debate on this. It is high time for us to make a choice. I am very fortunate to have this platform here to talk to people. But I vividly remember that it has always been my passion to go on Facebook Live and talk to the Gambian people. But even to cater for 1.5 gigabyte data is difficult because most of these tel companies we have in the Gambia are not regulated. They are not regulated because of this treacherous government in power. So it is high time that we reflect on these things and make sure that come on the 4th we get rid of this. So to my discussion, IEC, now, we all know that the Constitution tasks the IEC to conduct elections. So our focus should also be on IEC because we have seen what happened in our previous elections. How opposition parties were denied the right to free and peaceful elections. Personally, I don't think the present Independent Electoral Commission will compromise our election integrity processes. Gambia is a member of ECOWAS, and there is an election treaty. And I am 100% sure that the present IEC chairman read and understand the election charters, especially when it comes to giving the environment to citizens, opposition parties, to make sure that they exercise their right to franchise. To the IEC chairman, we are watching. We know very well that you African Independent Electoral Commission observers, those who conduct elections in Africa, you are fond of giving more leverage to the incumbent. We know that, especially Gambia, is always on record for that. But we have the spot counting, and we are going to make sure that people who are observing this spot counting will pay attention. In fact, most of these opposition parties should make sure that they sensitize their agents to take mobile phones with them. Since it is a spot counting, it will be prudent for opposition party agents to record videos during the spot counting, so that in any case there is thievery from the incumbent and even from the IEC, we will have the opportunity to present such evidence to the people. This is very good because we have what you call established court systems that are responsible for presiding over electoral malpractices. And let us not even underestimate the power of the spot counting system, because we know exactly what incumbent presidents can do in order to manipulate this system. So party oppositions agents should make sure that they have mobile phones to be given to their party agents and record most of these election proceedings. It is important because we are dealing with a government, both they know how to maneuver and they know how to get out of stuff. So the IEC chairman, our laws already regulates the time election will start and the time voting will stop and the time counting will start. We don't want any excuse. If you look at the ECOWAS protocol on elections, it is very clear. There should be a specified time. But IEC will live up to that expectations. When you said voting will start at this time, we want IEC to make sure that there are logistics available. The level playing field should be fair so that citizens will have the opportunity to vote for their party candidates. So we don't want to have a situation where you will come to the vote, you will go to the police station and you will be given an excuse that, okay, there are ballot boxes, that are late to arrive, or, you cannot be allowed to vote. Such excuses cannot be allowed. During the election day, if you want to conduct peaceful, free and fair election as an independent body, our laws and international charter place an obligation on the IEC to make sure that they conduct the election as early as possible so that people will go home and sit and observe. And thirdly, IEC and the government and other civil society organizations should ensure that there are more international observers during the election process. You see, we tend to downgrade the existence of these international observers during election processes, but they are important. We should make sure that we have more of them during the election day. In case, if they are making their report of how the election was conducted, we will have the opportunity to know whether the election was free and fair. ECOWAS election observers must be allowed to come. In fact, IEC should make sure that they send invitations to these observers to come. We have UN election observers. We have EU election observers. You understand? So, Uncle Femi Mahoney, he said, Barrow will definitely win. Well, that is your opinion, and I accept. But my position here is to send a message that we don't want to take another dangerous sacrifice to get President Barrow in power. To do that simply means digging our own grave. So you, Femi, might be in a very, very good situation where you have everything for yourself. But we owe this to our people out there. There are tangible records showing the number of women who died, and most of these deaths are preventable. The president do not care. The minister of health do not care. The only thing he cares is involving himself in politics. But not to get myself astray as per my topic, I am still on the responsibilities of IEC. As I said, IEC should make sure that they invite observers. We need election observers in the country. Remember, the Gambia is a country where we don't have access to stable electricity. So it is important that we have these, election observers from EU, from UN, from ECOWAS, from all the regional bodies to observe and know whether the election was free and fair. This will help opposition parties. It will give them this confidence. This will even help most of the civil society bodies in the Gambia. Also, it is the responsibility of IEC to make sure that they declare each and every vote being counted at the spot, and the announcement should not be, and I repeat, should not be late. We know that it is a tradition, especially in Africa, where most of these independent electoral commissioners or independent electoral bodies always have correspondence with incumbent presidents. We know it happens. It recently happened in Uganda during the last presidential elections. We have seen it. We have seen the actions made by the head of the Independent Electoral Commission in Uganda. In fact, there is a report currently being published by the electoral observers that the election wasn't free and fair. So there is no way that we have to underrate or underestimate the power of the incumbents when it comes to linking with our Independent Electoral Commission bodies. And it is the responsibility of the government to also ensure that IEC officials have maximum security protections. Because there are certain situations where IEC can rely on this excuse that, okay, there was no security given to us, so we receive certain attacks, from certain individuals, trying to have access to our ballot boxes. We don't want to hear those excuses come December 4th. We want to have an election where it will be entirely free from the control of the executive, especially the president. We want to have an election where the citizens will vote based on whom they want to see serve us, except President Barrow. Because I know for sure that sound-minded Gambians who has been living in the Gambia for the past 5 years will not vote for Barrow. That I am sure. And I don't want, God forbid, I don't want to see President Barrow in power. This is a president who celebrated the failure of a project he initiated. So you won't expect someone like me to support President Barrow. You won't expect a sound-minded Gambian who understands the dynamics of governance and who understands the basic foundation of the existence of the coalition parties. So we cannot take that excuse. This is why we are imploring on the IEC to make sure that they give us an election where each and everybody, international organizations, civil society bodies, NGOs, will hail the election as the most rigged-proof election in the whole world. And as far as the present IEC chairman and his commissioners are concerned, I know for sure they will put to task. And if they refuse to implement that task, we will go to the street and protest. This is why the other time I said, I think there is a need for us to have a second option. Since the president went out and lied that, okay, he knew very well that this election is just like life and death to him. So as to us, the citizens. Because what we have been bearing for the past 5 years is far way more than death to us. How many women died? There are so many. So IEC, we are watching your every move. We are watching. We already know the number of registered voters. It is there. The statistics is there. In fact, you made the presentation. So anytime you announce the results and we realize that there are lapses somewhere else, be ready to bear the consequences. Now to the main issue. How do we get rid of President Barrow? How do we get rid of President Barrow? We have to understand that the notion of incumbency is dying. If you follow the current political dynamics of Africa right now, if you follow it, go to Tanzania. In less than 15 years, they were very successful in removing 2 to 3 presidents. Yes, it happened. Go there and see. So, if you have the general notion that there is no way we can get rid of an incumbent president, you are making, a joke. So the trend is now changing. Why? Because Africans are now getting to understand the dynamics of governance processes in Africa. So there is no way that you can come and say, okay, I am an incumbent and there is no way that I can win the election. Oh, okay, incumbents are very good in winning elections. It doesn't happen now. That argument is right now dying in Africa. It is dying. In fact, we have been seeing the practical realities. Imagine now, recently there was a coalition Barrow formed with APRC. And the idea of that qualification is for him to win the upcoming election. According to him, it is the best political decision he has made since he's coming to, electoral. But now we have seen what Jame did. And I am 100% sure that this will go against President Barrow. That is my own opinion. If you rely on APRC to garner vote, and at the end, the founder of that party changes his mind, then automatically you are losing a lot of supporters from that political party. And the coming of Issa Fall also will help most of these opposition parties, especially most voters from Banjul, from Bara, from Nyomi surroundings. I am very certain that it is going to affect the political weight of President Barrow. So this is a good step for most of our opposition parties. Come on, there's no way we can take the risk to just retain President Barrow again. For what? Look at how isolated we are internationally. Just look at it. As far as I am concerned, the only country that we have a very solid international cooperation with is Senegal. And that is even 99% of that international cooperation is to our own jeopardy, is to our own detriment. Look at Macky Sall. President Barrow sold our country's sovereignty to Macky Sall. His government went and signed an international joint security agreement where Senegalese forces are allowed to trample with our sovereignty. Look at the type of people who surround the president. Look at his bodyguards. The other time he went to Gunjur, I don't know, Brikama in his car. He was recorded. He clearly said that the car he drove, the car he is using, was from a businessman. And we are talking about a president who declared his asset, a president who served as a role model when it comes to accountability and transparency. But for the period of 5 years, we have not seen any single transparency. They knew that election is coming. They decided to throw Dr. Banjul to mile 2. When the minister responsible for fisheries affairs is moving around and nothing has been done to him. Where are the strong institutions that we advocated for the past 20 years? These were the foundation for the existence of the coalition parties, and President Barrow himself promised himself that he is going to make sure that we have these strong institutions existing. If there were strong institutions in place for the period of 5 years, today we will not struggle as far as our governance processes are concerned. But because there is no tangible work being done by the president to make sure that we have these strong institutions, that is why most of these things have been compromised. And when we talk about strong institutions, what do we mean? Making sure that we have a very, very, very solid policies. We have very, very, very powerful laws where appointments of public officials will be based on merit. But look at the composition of his government. You wouldn't even understand whether this is a government or this is not a government. Because what we have presently, you look at the composition, you wouldn't even understand. Look at Mr. Hamad Ba. Look at the Fisheries Affairs Minister. Look at the President's advisors. You look at the governance structure of Rwanda. And you look at the ministers of Paul Kagame's government. You look at the ministers of Ramaphosa South Africa's government. You look at Macky Sall's ministers. You look at President Barrow's government ministers and advisors. You tend to question the existence of our government. Just recently, the Vice President of Nigeria, during one of his speeches, he said, one state in Nigeria is far way more better than the Gambia. Let me tell you, they understand the reality. They know that we don't have a government. They know what we have in the Gambia are people who only knows how to steal. I kept emphasizing on this. Go to GRA. Western Gambia has been singing about this thing. Go to GRA, you look at the economic leakages happening there. Look at the Joint Commission report. Everything is cherry picking. You come to the draft constitution. This is what even made me so frustrated about this government. You look at the foundation of the coalition, that we will have a national legal document that will pave the way for us as far as governance is concerned. Just because a particular section do not favor him, he went and sidelined himself with his treacherous MPs to make sure that they vote against it, and they succeeded. A project he initiated. Where is the Anti-Corruption Commission? Where is the Anti-Corruption Commission? The draft constitution caters for the existence of Anti-Corruption Commission. Where is it? For the past 5 years, oh, anti-corruption bill. Where is it? And you want to tell me President Barrow is so serious about governance? He is not serious about governance. Look at our roads. Look at our national budgets. 3/4 of the budget is everything is based on loan and grant. We want to have a president or a government boo xam ne dafa xalaat how to get money for its citizens, how to make things easier for its citizens without relying on international support. I am not trying to sideline, having international support, but when you have a government, they are not creative, there is no way that they can get international support, especially when it comes to certain infrastructural development. This is why the government is still struggling to make sure that they do what they want to do, and time is running away. Lol mota gaay ñu ngi them trying to fix dijel suuf diko sorti fi, because they know that most of our people in the rural areas, most of our people in the protectorate are not aware. They are not aware. So let's say if you go to Kantora area, you just pour sand, one Johnson, and tell them we are bringing you roads. They wouldn't have any option but then to vote for you. But in reality, the president himself knew that he is internationally isolated, and there's no way that he can get international support. So the only way he can rely on, that is why right now he is pushing for OIC projects to be implemented so that he will use it during his campaign period. But Gambian people are not stupid. Trust me, even a 3-year-old boy knows the practical political realities in the Gambia. So this is why I said it is too late for the president. It is too late for him. And I know very well that right now, Hamad Ba Henry Gomez, all of them, they are right now thinking about how to loot. You know, African presidents are very good in that. Recently, the former president of Tanzania did it. They are right now working on how to empty our coffers. You don't need, tangible evidence to argue on this. This is a fact. They are all, because they knew very well that this man is going to lose. So they start, their thievery activities. I have been talking to young people, and let me tell you, these are young people from the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 25. And most of them are ready to go to the street come 4th December to vote against Barrow. Because these are people who cannot get employment. You live in a country where 85% of the youths are unemployed. You cannot create a single employment opportunities for the Gambian people. Our young people are dying every day. Every day they are dying through the bad way. And you will never and ever hear the Minister of Youth standing up and then bring or introduce a policy relating to youth employment. Last time I had him trying to gather 10,000 youths for the president's rally. I was like, I don't think this man even knows his function or his roles. We are talking about a president, I cannot even imagine where, in less than 5 years, one loaf of bread is $10. A small cup of oil is $20. A bag of sugar is more than $1,600. You have a minister responsible for trade affairs. You cannot even control prices of goods in your country. This is what happens when a government does not live up to standard. You don't expect citizens to respect rules and regulations, because the government itself always disregard rules and regulations. We have to get rid of President Barrow. We don't want to live another 5 years suffering. This government has shown us beyond reasonable doubt that they cannot perform. And the earlier, the better. If we are watching this, we just keep talking to our family members. Tell them, it is very easy to make a Gambian understand their suffering. Just tell them, how much is the price for a bag of rice? They will tell you. Tell them, how much is the price for a cup of oil? Explain these things to them in a language they can understand. Tell them, look at your roads. Tell them, your son is dying to go to Bagwe because President Barrow is enriching himself. Look at the president. In less than 3 years, he was lucky to build a mansion for himself. And I am sure that if we remove him, which I am sure will happen, December 4th, we will drag his criminal government to another commission. He has to tell us, where did he get that money to build that mansion? Because he was a poor real estate man. Look at those who surround the president. Look at him, his advisors. He is the only president in this 21st century that has more than 7 advisors, and still now. And most of these advisors do not have expert knowledge on their positions. Dusano, what can Dusano advise the president? What can the other guy advise the president on? What can Mr. Gomez, GDP, what can they advise the president? What do they know on policy related issues? What do they know about governance? That is why still now, I wonder why still now we cannot even have the TRRC reports. I don't know, because we want this report out and see whether the government will show this political will. Well, I know for sure that they won't, because they don't care. Go to our hospitals. Just go there. So these are the things that opposition parties should rely on and explain it to the people. Go to the markets. Go to the street. The young man out there, he cannot even get his daily sustenance because the government neglected him or her. Look at our university. Every year, the University of the Gambia is producing more than 500 graduates. Where are they? Every year, more than 10,000 high school students. Where are they? They are all sitting, most of them with their degree documents. They don't have anything to do because the government is so myopic to the extent that they don't know what is good, they don't know what is bad. So it becomes our responsibility to make sure that we do something. Countries are moving. If you want to doubt this, try to look at how other countries are moving now. Look at Rwanda. 1994. Gambia never experienced a civil war. Our infrastructures were never destroyed as a result of civil war or war. But in 1994, Rwanda faced a civil war here. More than 200,000 people died. Their infrastructures destroyed. Everything. But look at Rwanda today. Because they have a pragmatic leader. Look at South Africa. Look at Botswana. But you look at the Gambia, sometimes you even wonder whether we are existing as a nation. That is why the other time I told my lecturer that we should use development as a precondition to determine what a state is. Development should be used as a precondition to determine what a state is, because there are certain African countries, they are not qualified to be called an independent state because of the development strata. Our developments are very, very, very wretched. And Gambia is one of those examples under the leadership of this treacherous president. When Adam Barrow, a president should even lead by example. Look at Barack Obama. Look at Joe Biden. Look at Paul Kagame. Look at Macky Sall. Whenever you invite them to a public speech, they talk to you. They inspire people. They motivate people. But whenever President Barrow speaks, you hardly understand the head and the tail of what he said. The only thing President Barrow knows is Garwale. I don't know whether he lacks ideas. I don't know whether sometimes this man is okay or not. I even feel sorry. I even feel sorry for myself by calling President Barrow as my president. I know I cannot do anything about it, but I wish this man just because even this remaining 20 days, or let's say 25 days, to his presidency, he's going to do more harm to us than good. Because right now, he is only doing harm to us. So we are going to, we will keep eyeing, focusing, our eyes, serving as watchdog, because we know very well that the IEC has been compromising for the past 30 years. So we're going to keep an eye, and we are going to make sure that, we have a free and fair election where citizens will vote against this incumbent and this, treacherous and this economic vampire government out of power. We will have a government that will establish a commission to make sure that all the financial leakages that happen, from Hamad Ba's office, Ministry of Tourism, because he sold all our lands. Hamad Ba sold all our tourism land. We are going to make sure that we establish a commission to look at Hamad Ba's works. We are going to make sure that we establish a commission that is going to look at the Minister of Local Government and Land work. We are going to hold them accountable and drag all of them to court, and they will all serve a prison sentence. And Barrow himself wouldn't be excluded. And we have to understand that our political activism wouldn't stop now. It is not going to stop now. Even if a new government comes in power, we are going to pressure them, force them to make sure that they put Barrow's ministers and everybody, anyone that works under Barrow, to be held accountable if you are alleged to do something wrong, especially the financial part, because the economic havoc they cause to Gambians is far way more than what we have ever experienced since the inception of the Gambia as an independent state. So on the 4th is coming. Let us not lose hope. We don't have time for that. The objective, the focus, do not allow anybody to divert your attention. The focus and the objective is nothing but to remove Barrow and any single person who works under him and your name is mentioned for human rights violations or for economic crime. We want to live in a country where we will have a better and standard healthcare system. To many African countries, the right to health care is a human right. In many African countries, the right to housing, people are now seeing human rights as an obligation on the state. And you have to make sure that you enforce these things. But no, we are still lacking on that. And these are most of the things. The draft constitution stipulated them. But you have a criminal government, they don't want to see that, then they throw it away. So, December 4th, we have to make a choice. And that choice is Barrow will go down in history as the worst president, Gambia will ever have, as far as our political history is concerned. So now that election is coming, we will come every now and then. And we are also doing our underground work, calling our family members, inform them that, it is a bad idea to have President Barrow again in power. We have to vote against President Barrow and make sure that this man go. This man cannot represent us, in an EU parliament. This man cannot represent us in a UN parliament. This man cannot represent us in an ECOWAS, diplomatic meetings. Just look at today what he did at the international airport. This man do not even know the head and the tail of what it takes to understand and respect protocols. You wouldn't even understand. So it is our responsibility. Let us throw away these tribal notions. Let us throw away these personal emotions. We have a job to do, and that job will determine our life. And that is President Barrow and his criminal government has to go. We cannot have public officials. We cannot have police commissioners. We cannot have ministers whose name has been mentioned by an independent commission for economic crimes. We cannot have commissioners, public officials whose name has been mentioned by an independent truth commission for alleged human rights violations. It doesn't work anywhere. The only country where we have that is the Gambia. Why? Because this president do not care. The only thing he knows is how to entrench himself in power. So Gambian people will show him that the power of the ballot box is way more powerful than his treacherous government. And we will make this happen, inshallah. Thank you.